are technically live. I don't know if anyone's
by the seat of our pants
watching or what's going on.
Away.
No, I want my water up here. Oh no.
Oh no.
How does this all work? Let's see. Did that go live on Reddit?
Sign into chat.
I don't know.
What account can I sign into to get onto YouTube? What's the best account for that?
You are your own person, so go ahead and sign in.
Alrighty, I guess I will be.
Mary's in charge of herself?
Yes.
I thought you
Yay.
wanted. I thought you wanted to have Kanzenshuu be the person responding back to folks.
No,
I'd
I
rather.
don't want anyone responding to anyone. You're just reading.
I'm just reading.
You're just reading.
Okay then. I'm not logged in.
So
Okay.
I don't have to respond either?
No, oh, I mean you do in audio
Oh.
form. All right, it looks like we got this. I'm gonna have the stream up too. Oh, it works. All right, everything. All right, there's people here already.
Yes.
Wow. All right, I guess we will get started because this is going to be archived. So now we're going to have like 2 or 3 minutes of these people don't know what the hell they're doing on our live
Do we
video.
ever?
Always flying by the seat of our pants.
Hello, everyone. So this is
Hi.
our first Reddit AMA. We were lovingly invited by the staff, the moderation team over at the subreddit. And here we are. So we have 2/4 of Kanzenshuu plus a significant other on the live stream right now. And later on, we're going to have 3/4. And actually, he just sent me a text. He may be joining in right
sweet.
now for the text on his lunch break. Several of you are on lunch breaks, including several of the staff doing this right now. So I definitely appreciate that.
I came home from work.
Oh, whoops. I just hit volume on my other. We have 3 laptops here. This is very confusing. All right. So introductions are in order. My name is Mike. I go by Vegito EX, but you can just call me Mike. I am, again, 1/4 of Kanzenshuu. We are a Dragon Ball fan site, and I guess maybe we can talk a little bit more about that if people want to know the history of the site. We're going to ignore this lady for a couple minutes while we do the other 2/4 introduction. Heath, who are you?
I am Heath Cutler, known as Hugio. I pretty much run the show and then do whatever Mike tells me to do.
Is that how that works?
I think so.
I think we both boss each other around pretty good.
For the most part.
All right, I guess that's an introduction. So who are you?
I'm Mary. I run a site called Temple of Trunks. It was big from roughly 1998 through 2000. I don't remember when I stopped updating it. It still exists. TempleofTrunks.com. I had not updated it in years, but I had a great time working on it, and I kind of help out Kanzenshuu with stuff like this from time and again. Working on the podcast, helping out with panels if you still even do that sort of thing.
When's the last time we did a panel?
I don't.
No, honestly, when is the last time we did the panel? Was it with
I-
Heath? Was that at
That was
Otakon?
probably with me.
What year was that? 2010?
Yes.
Back
well.
in time.
That's right. So we are here to take your questions. I already see that most of the questions coming in on Reddit are who do you think is stronger? So I don't know. Insert Futurama, not sure if serious face here, but I think we'll address some of those. But we're looking to take your questions about pretty much anything and everything for the next hour or so, whether that be your strength questions, which I'll probably make my feelings well known on if I haven't already.
You kind of already.
I think I
alluded
did.
to that.
So I'm turning everyone off. This guy hates strength debates.
Unsubscribe.
Not even subscribe.
Hate you guys.
So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Taking your questions about what it's like to run a website, what it's like doing so in 2017 versus 1998.
Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I
Yes.
always wanted to do that topic, just as a podcast.
Yeah, just talking about what it was like back then.
Well, no, just what it's actually like to run a site like this now, because sites close to what we run
Mm-hmm.
pretty much don't exist anymore the way they used to. And so it's kind of a weird relic of the past that is very future. I don't know. It's a weird bridge that we have.
Well, why don't you talk about that for a little bit? So your face is on screen while I adjust the volume because you're too loud in my ears. So you talk for a little
There
bit.
can never be enough Heath in your
You
ears.
talk for a little bit. I'm going to adjust my volume and then I'll take a look in on the chat and on the sub for any other questions. So what was it like back then?
Well, what it was like back then was updating pages via writing HTML code in Notepad and just uploading it. There was no PHP, nothing to run the backends. We didn't have content management systems like we do now, which thank the Lord, because they make things so much easier. Because we have 5,000 individual pages and more than that in just news posts. And I can't imagine having to go through and organize all that by hand.
Yeah, well, what we used to do is organize it manually by month. We would kind of keep maybe just like CMSs do now, kind of like the latest 10 news posts on the homepage. And then we would manually copy and paste and resave everyone into like, 1999-01.html and just manually keep adding link after link after link to keep this ever-growing archive of stuff. And it took more work to run the site than to actually do anything for the site.
Exactly. Which nowadays we would pretty much not do anything if that was the case. If it were not for WordPress, we would probably not have a website.
Right.
And I admit, you've been doing some awesome things with the platform.
Oh, wait!
I am quite impressed. And this is
he's been doing.
And Heath, what you do as your hobby is like my trade. So the fact that you're able to get WordPress doing what it does, I'm like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, it is amazing what you can do with JavaScript and PHP these days.
Yeah, you've shared some pretty cool stuff that you've been working on, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. We already have tons and tons and tons of questions coming in.
Yeah, why don't we hop
I suppose I should refresh the page.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to mix it up between what's coming in on YouTube and what's coming in on Reddit?
Yeah, I kind of want to do a little bit of everything. So the way we're going to do this is for at least this for this first hour or so, we're going to probably just be chewing on things on the live stream. Julian might be answering some questions over on the sub in text.
He already is.
Oh, good.
Yes.
And then, after the live stream, we'll go back and start filling in with some of the things we answered, and if we think of anything else to add in. So, so if you don't see us type an answer out to your question, it is coming soon. Mary, why don't you, what do you got for us? What's kind of the first good question you see?
Do you want me, which channel? Do you want
anything. You just pick something.
My goodness. Well, let's do an easy one first. Are you hyped for number 17? I'll answer first because Mike can attest to the fact that every time Super comes on and there's even the hint of 17, I just throw my hands up in the air. I'm like, number 17, yes! So I'm hyped. I don't know how hyped you two are.
I'm pretty excited for it. I've been answering, I think it was even on the Reddit sub recently about, what should we do in terms of, wouldn't Frieza or Cell be better choices? And talking about by trade for Mary and I here, a lot of marketing is what we do. So I'm thinking about the character inclusions, not just from, who's the strongest on the planet, but who's the most marketable character. And in terms of Frieza, I think we've been there, done that so many times. And yeah, how many times has Toriyama brought Frieza back? Not as many as all this other stuff has done. What about bringing Cell back? Would that be exciting?
No.
That would be exciting to a certain portion of the audience. But for the kids that they're really trying to sell Super to now, the kids that are into Dragon Ball Heroes, let's be honest here, Dragon Ball Heroes has been the thing that was making the most money. They wanted to make a Dragon Ball Heroes TV show. Toriyama struck that down. Would Cell be interesting to that audience? They'd be like, yeah, I guess I know him from the games. And then the question is, well, would 17 be interesting to that audience? And it's kind of the same answer there. Who cares? Yeah, I guess my older brother or my dad knows 17 from when they were a fan. But in terms of using the character in other ways, all right, you bring Cell back. All right, he hated everyone and wanted to kill everyone. And yeah, he was a little bit more prideful of a fighter than Frieza was. What do you do when the tournament is over and Cell's just hanging around? Is Cell just going to become everyone's best friend? I don't see that happening with Cell the way that we know 17 has already been integrated into the larger world. We know what his park ranger lifestyle is like right now. I think there's more fun stuff you can do with 17. And that's why I think they made, and by they, it's really just Toriyama, he made that choice to, all right, here's someone we can do cool stuff with. And he's also strong. grab them. Let's do it. So yeah,
I'm hyped.
Good answer.
good answer.
Thank you.
Hey, guess who wasn't recording in Audacity?
You.
Oh, that's so hot.
I'll have
I
to
always get shit for that.
no, I'll have to export the audio from the YouTube encode. Whatever. All right, that's one question.
Do you want a hard-hitting question or an easy question?
All right, let's do the hard-hitting question. What do you got?
What's the most surprising piece of Dragon Ball news we've ever covered? And by we, I mean you.
I always remember when the news for Dragon Ball Kai broke, and God, I got emails and texts from Mike, and we all scrambled, and
we weren't even the same site yet at that point, but we kind of were operating as one.
Mm-hmm. And then Battle of Gods was about on par with that, but for me it was Kai just because there had been nothing like that beforehand. At least when Battle of Gods hit, we already had Kai going, some other stuff in other countries. But man, when Kai hit, there was nothing going on. Maybe some video games, the Kanzenshuu had wrapped up. But that was huge. It was, oh my God, it's going to be on TV again. And then we all kind of know what happened with Kai after that.
Kai was also
the initial announcement was very good, in my opinion.
It was also weird because we had gotten information about it that was starting to break on our forum well ahead of its announcement. So our community kind of got a heads up about what was coming. And just as weird as Funimation's home releases had been trying to make sense of what Kai was going to be, how it was going to be produced, all the new tidbits, they were so vague at first. And we know what the situation was with Kai, where it was, like I was just talking about, they wanted to do a Dragon Ball Hero series that got struck down. What else do we do? They don't want to do new material. I guess just rehash the old thing. How do we rehash the old thing? So we always talk about Kai, and then specifically Yamamoto is the gift that keeps on giving. But Heath, I think as Funimation's home release finally starts coming out, we are ready to just bury that thing forever. I am so sick of documenting Kai.
And this is all Torishima's fault. I mean, he's the one that came up with the idea of, hey, let's kind of do a manga cut of the anime. And yeah, we all know what happened. So I am ready for it to just die, go 6 feet under, and we can all move on.
Until the next Kai, which honestly, at this point, I don't think they're going to do any other Kai edits of anything. First TV series or GT.
Not with significantly improved, I guess, the commercialization of Dragon Ball Super, over Dragon Ball Kai. They'll definitely take a new series that, from a markability standpoint, is much superior.
Cool. Any other good question? Was that the hard hitting, or was that the?
No, I mean, there's tons of questions. I don't even know.
All right, Mary, keep them coming.
Oh, holy moly! Well, I like this one because I have a selfish stake in this one, and it's something that I've asked Mike a couple times, and I feel like I get a non-answer. So let's see.
So you're gonna ask us a question that I typically don't even answer to you anyway.
Exactly.
So you can get it out of me on the live stream.
Okay.
Right, let's see how this works.
Are there any long-term legacy plans for establishing Kanzenshuu? New staff taking up the torch in 100 years? Julian's children translating V-jumps?
Heath, why don't you start? What are our legacy plans?
I need this in writing.
I don't know that we have any. Originally, it was just make our children do it. But
that's it.
I don't know.
So what if they all grow up hating this? They're like, oh my God, our dads are like into this weird crap, and I don't get it, and I wish it would all just go away.
Kind of talked about, we're going to be in a retirement home with all of us together, and we're just going to start spitting crap out, and that's how it's all going to end, really.
It's going to end with us spitting stuff.
Well, like content and news. We're just going to whatever. We're going to BS it at the end.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone I've ever done a podcast with has collectively decided that we're all going to grow old together in a retirement home and do podcasts there. So it's going to be pretty busy.
That's as far as we've taken the conversation, it seems.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a good way, we haven't really broached the subject because I don't feel like we're at the point where, gosh, we really need a backup plan because this is all just falling apart.
What you're saying is we haven't breached it because none of us want to think about our mortality.
Well, yes, that too.
There's that.
But Mary and I have had conversations about, all right, all this shit down in the basement.
This stuff that you guys cannot see. It's scary.
What do we do with it?
What do I do with all the weekly jumps?
I know. I kind of feel like whoever dies first, their stuff goes to the next person, goes to the next person.
That sounds like the premise to a movie.
So it's kind
of a very bad movie.
Who's
Let's
alive?
Just make a museum.
That thought has crossed my mind.
I don't know who the hell would, come.
Right.
But I think set up in a shack in like Arkansas somewhere.
Yeah, a bunker somewhere. I think what we need to do is team up with a one Mr. Picking Duck and find a place that we can set up a trust fund or something. I don't know.
Trust fund, babies.
Store all of our material. Yeah. So thanks for reminding us we're all going to die someday.
I want to get that out there. It's serious business.
It is.
It is serious business. What's the favorite April Fool's joke you guys have ever pulled on the site? I was personally a fan of what you did a couple weeks ago, Mike, because that was just pulling out all the stops, multimedia assault.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how quickly you whipped those up. It's like, here's a text piece, here's a video piece.
Yeah, it was really weird because we would get responses to that of, I can't imagine how much time you guys put into putting all this together. And I think just the day before, Mike had texted me and said, "Oh my God, this is so easy. No wonder people do this."
That is. I think that's the last thing I said to you in our cheat chat before today. So.
Yeah.
I see. So Julian chimed in on the Reddit chat with the response. If you want me to read it out loud, AF 2004. I got to admit that may be better.
Oh, that reminds me. Related story. So the commercial that I did for AF in 2004 was a bunch of Japanese text on screen on a black screen in between old Z footage. And at the time, one of the complaints about that trailer, I'm like, oh, this is why I can't believe it, because you're just using old Z footage. What just came out within the last day? A trailer for 17. And sure, it had some lens flares on it. But in general, it was white text on a black background interspersed with old Z, Kai footage. Like, so I made an accurate thing. An accurate thing.
An accurate thing happened.
In 2004.
Wow.
Ah! Anyway, yes, I enjoyed. You froze on screen.
Good.
We're gonna hang on that for a second.
Just for you.
I enjoyed the 2004 thing. That was one of Julian's first. All right, I sort of know Japanese. I'm gonna make a flyer, and here's some text for. I forget what the commercial said. It was like Kono CM is fake. I don't entirely remember what it was, but yeah, we had a good time with the 2004 thing. We kind of let April Fools. Oh, come on! The best April Fool's joke was launching Kanzenshuu, April 1st, 2012.
The best non-joke to ever exist. And I'll never forget when I think we were batting that idea around like for serious business when Heath and friends came over to visit one year. It would have been around this time several years ago. We went out and we were like, no, we're going to do this for real. And we're going to launch it.
Because I came in December.
It was December. Okay.
Yeah. We must have already been sort of working on it at that point then.
Yeah, and then we finally finalized everything in Mary's car while we were going to get sushi.
And then I hit a curb. I don't know why that's what I remember.
But that was a very stressful time. So for us, the joke was, this is not a joke. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of neat to watch people's reaction because they're like, oh, this is hilarious. And then April 2nd came and they're like, oh, the site is still there. They're for real. This is happening.
Yeah. I think our deal at the time was, no, like actually start browsing through the site. It's a full website. We wouldn't have gone through all that effort just to, I mean, if it was a joke, we would have just done it. All right. I'm kind of scrolling down on the actual sub now.
And thank you, Julian, for taking care of so many questions via text.
Yeah. Julian answered this already, but I want to bring this up here. This is a big thing, obviously, that we think about a lot, and we did a little parody of with the April Fools this year. How do you guys deal with fake fan news? Like, oh my God, Gohan is confirmed to go Super Saiyan White in the next episode. I'm a Brazilian fan, by the way. I love y'all. Thanks for the great work. Well, thank you, I'm going blind. Salami. Thank you, Salami.
Can I make a guess?
Yeah.
My guess is that you ignore it.
Pretty much.
I say that as someone who doesn't work on your site, but
Right.
I assume the best defense for combating that sort of thing is just ignore it. Don't draw attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. We've done a couple very brief, I don't know if we called them editorials or something. One was the thing about the vibrator from some strength debate community. And that was less about dealing with fake information. It was more an opportunity to write an article about critical thinking and how to analyze things and some of the things that we think about as we're approaching new information. All these tools are tools that everyone already has. The only difference to some degree is, the scene from Avengers where we have a Hulk. For us, we have a Julian. Also, we have a Jake.
Yeah.
So, that's our special power is we can actually read the text that's in there. But overall, we kind of just ignore it. It's one of those things where if you name the enemy, you give it power. So we kind of just, and I think that's worked in our favor, because now people, when they talk about Kanzenshuu, and I love this and I very much appreciate it, when people talk about Kanzenshuu, they mention the words credibility, accuracy, consistency. You don't get that if you bother with, never mind address or deal with or cover all that other stuff.
Although, just to counter that, you did, like, in serious instances, debunk stuff.
Yes, Heath, why don't there's always these stories where I text Heath, hey, I'm going on, like, I don't tell you ahead of time. I'm going on vacation. See you in a week. I'm sure nothing will happen in the next week. And it always does. So
yeah. The hardest thing is always when a story like that hits, something that we realize is fake news or we've confirmed it as fake, and we don't want to acknowledge it, but then it starts to spread like wildfire, where even, like Anime News Network or other more reputable anime news sources start picking it up or running with it, and that's when we usually kind of draw the line of, okay, somebody needs to step in. I don't want to say like be the parent and be like, no, listen here, but right. Somebody at least to just, here are the facts. We might not necessarily say you guys are all wrong or somebody's wrong, but we're going to lay out the facts. You draw your own conclusion. Our conclusion is this is not legitimate. And that's kind of how we go about it if we deem it necessary.
So why don't you tell everyone about Ramen for Two?
Oh, that was really fun. There's this nice interview that popped up. Where was this? Was this in Spain?
It was Ramen Para Dos. So I don't know if it was Mexican or Spanish, but yeah, it was in Spanish.
And so this nice article popped up saying, hey, we have video here. We've transcribed it all. We've translated what Tadayoshi Yamamuro had said. There's a new movie coming. It's confirmed. And we said, whoa, let's slow the roll here and maybe translate this a little. And we started fact checking the subtitles that were included on the video, and they were just utterly wrong. Like, things weren't even lined up properly at all of what he was actually saying. So
right, it was Japanese to Spanish, and we had plenty of people chiming in on our forum like, I'm fluent in Japanese and Spanish, and this is wrong. Never mind Japanese to English. It just, stuff was not lining up at all.
And so at that point, we're just like, okay, obviously this is for clicks. Let's just roll it out of what's happening and whatever. And then they doubled down on it and posted another post and just kept going with it. Like, no, we're 100%. This is true. Lo and behold, like it completely blew up and nothing ever happened from it. But it was nice to be able to jump in and kind of set the record straight.
the thing that ruined it for them was they did put up their unedited interview with the answers in Japanese, and we could be like, all right, here's the transcription of the Japanese, here's our translation of the Japanese, mic drop. Like, and they were blaming, I mean, this is petty internet drama. Like, we have no connection with them, so it's all just from a reporting side of things. But they were, like you said, they were really doubling down on no, our interviewer and our translator, they are professionals and they absolutely know what they're doing. Like, these words don't exist. Like,
and I think my response was, well, if they're professionals, you should really get your money back.
Let's see.
Yeah, what else we got?
What else do we have? We got quite a bit of Dragon Ball Super questions. Do you want to go there?
Yeah, go for it.
Just generally, how are you enjoying it? I've seen that come up quite a bit.
I mean, Mary, your answer again, not an official part of Kanzenshuu, but a valuable opinion.
Oh, thank
appreciate
you.
It.
I do appreciate that.
In general, I mean, you're like, oh, they're fighting. Let me know when someone else is like having a cool conversation.
Pretty much. Like, I will watch it when there's character stuff going on.
Yeah.
I obviously watched it when the Trunks arc went down. I've been watching on and off, like in the background with the current arc. Did you just touch Bubba Trunks?
Yeah,
that is wildly inappropriate.
He was behind the mic stand. Don't worry about it. Anyway.
I think I like it better than the average bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heath.
I'm enjoying it. I have my complaints, just like everybody else, but that's the great thing. It's a product. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It never will be. And to think it would be is, I think, asinine. So for me, I'm just enjoying it as it comes out. It's nice to just have something new that is not Kai.
Yeah, the new material, that part is nice. I think that everyone's in a really tough situation because forget the discussion about what is a canon. We just have so many stories. How many versions of Bardock's story do we have? Now we're at a point where how many versions of Trunks's story do we have? We have the original Dragon Ball Online Time Patrol Trunks. Now we have the Xenoverse version of Time Patrol Trunks. Now we have a different future world for various Trunkses in Dragon Ball Super.
Trunkses.
I think that's a lot to ask for all at the exact same time. I think if that stuff was staggered, yeah, obviously Dragon Ball Online was staggered. So I think that hinders things just a little bit, especially Xenoverse in particular, that made such a huge impression on fandom. It did really well for Bandai Namco. And then we kind of thought we were going to go down the line of Time Patrol Trunks in Super initially, even with that outfit.
They have an opportunity to do it again if the show keeps going.
Right. They could. But in terms of overall enjoyment of Dragon Ball Super, yeah, I'm having a good time. I totally zoned out for those first couple arcs. I watched the Battle of Gods retelling week by week. The Frieza arc, honestly, I stopped watching at some point, and I let Heath do all the work on the site for that arc.
That is a fact.
I'm assuming you finished doing it at some point. I don't entirely know. I don't even want to go look at the episode guide pages. So yeah, it was just kind of like they're biding their time. I'm biding my time as a fan. Let's do some new material. Lots of people have lots of valid concerns about it, but in general, like if I actively dislike something a whole lot, I'm not going to give it a lot of mental real estate. So I just don't bother talking about that portion of it. So I just kind of, Super's on, having a good time. We also enjoy things very differently from other folks. I think we've talked about this a lot, where the first time we watch something, it's full on documentation mode. When I'm watching something, it's always, all right, who's that voice actor? I want to make sure I can do an update about what was that. Oh, it's the first time we saw that person. I want to make sure I watch the credits to get the counter spelling of that name. Heath, I know you're Mr. Credits guy, so you're always thinking about that. You were kind of working on the animation styles guide for everything. It's just sometimes I wish we had an opportunity to just sit and watch something.
I've tried to do that more with Super, as much as I can. I do fall in and out of, it airs on my Saturday night at between 6 and 7 typically. Well, I'm usually fairly busy So I just try to catch it later. Having Crunchyroll now is amazing. So much nicer. But yeah, I know we've talked about it on the podcast before. It is definitely, woe is us that we don't quite enjoy some things the first time the way other people do. But that's just the nature of the business. It's how we decide to do it.
Here's something that I kind of want to address. This is from Ikeri Bus X, I think. I know a few people have taken up and ultimately abandoned the overwhelming task of translating the Kanzenshuu. Have there been any talks among yourselves of reviving that project? That's a question that is not just can we do it, but the actual logistics of doing it, but the legality of doing it. You'll notice that a lot of the straight up literal translations from Kanzentai back in the day are not on Kanzenshuu right now. In particular, some of those, like the item dictionary stuff. Heath,
a lot of things from Kanzenshuu 7, the encyclopedia. Yeah, we opted. We all kind of came together, put our heads together, and just said, legality reasons. How do we want to approach translations when we combine? And that's essentially what we came up with. We've had instances in the past of companies saying, would you please take this down or take that down, or we have concerns. And we decided to just take the initial step amongst ourselves of just don't even put ourselves in that situation anymore. It's not a fun thing to deal with. Ask Team 4-Star.
I want to tell, I think enough time has passed. Maybe we shouldn't, but I feel like doing it. Now it's going to be committed to live video forever. But
documented on the internet.
We received a C&D from Toei's legal department to remove character designs from the plan to eradicate the Super Saiyans remake feature. I kindly let them know that the American branch of Bandai Namco had provided that material to all of the American press on their press server, and maybe they would like to talk to their own partners in Japan about that.
How do I PR?
Yeah. So that one went well for us. Some other ones have not gone so well. The way we've talked about this with the newest addition to the site, which is the press archive, we try to strike a nice balance of providing all the documentation we can without full on acting as a complete replacement for a product. And obviously that's a very fine line, and it's a moving line, and one that no one agrees with, even among the four of us sometimes. You're like, well, why don't we just post that? I was like, well, I have concerns about how much we're replicating from that. So that's kind of
one of the good boundary lines that we like to use is just how old is the publication and how easily accessible is it? Like a lot of what you've been doing in the press archive is out of print. I don't want to say very hard to find because you've had quite a bit of luck in tracking some of these down.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are, some of the companies don't exist anymore either. So like, all right, who's going to care about it at that
It's almost
point?
like you're doing your own self-imposed public domain.
A little bit. Yeah. Obviously that's not real legality.
We're not lawyers.
Right. I can offer
have one.
legal advice.
Don't know what to do.
But that's kind of how we operate. So I think that's a roundabout answer of why we don't just have a full translation of Kanzenshuu 7 on the site. We could do so probably at the drop of a hat, because I think a lot of it has been translated. But for us, and you're going to see a lot of this in some of the new guides we've been working on for 5 years that we would like to post at some point in the future.
Maybe.
It's more about the documentation and the citations than the full replacement translation text from a book or a magazine. So I think that answers that question.
You think it does?
I'm making my...
What else do you got,
yes,
Mary?
What are your first memories of Dragon Ball? Asks Anna later. Anna, I'm going blind too.
We're down in our basement. It's not the brightest place, and also Texas is small, and we're old, so we can't see your names.
My
I'm
eyesight
sorry.
is fantastic.
All right, Obasan.
dead.
First, Dragon Ball memories. The back of Electronic Gaming Monthly, didn't know what it was, didn't care what it was, but when a friend told me to check out the series, I remembered what that stuff was. So that would have been the 1994 through 1995 issues of the magazine, people sending in envelope art and them doing import previews. But it was 96 when I first got into the series. Like, oh, that's that spiky haired shit.
That's one way to define it.
Yes.
I think my first exposure to it, and therefore memory, was just seeing it on TV. I was into Sailor Moon first, and I think I saw an ad for Dragon Ball in syndication while watching Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And around the same time, I got like a random issue of America because I had Sailor Moon on the cover. And I'm sure at the time there must have been something Dragon Ball related. In fact, I know exactly what issue it would have been. I can go dig it out and see if that's the case. But I think my first memory of it was actually watching it live on television.
That was mine as well. TV.
Ah, stole it.
Ha. Yeah, I had a friend in junior high that had said, "Hey, this show's on. You should check it out." And I had always been into just the older, like Robotech and other things. And he's like, "I think you'd like it." And so we watched it, and oh god, I'm still here.
All right, Mike, do you have one? Because I got one.
All right, shoot.
Okay, this should be an easy one. If you could choose between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, which one would you watch for the rest of your life? Pick only one, though. That's from Jock Nerd 5.
I mean, I guess you can get away with that because you're specifically talking about the TV adaptation, which is broken down into two.
I would go with the manga.
Yeah, that's the real answer.
That's the loophole answer.
All right, my hipster answer is I would choose the first TV series because I think it has a better balance and a larger range of comedy and action and adventure and techniques and different kinds of fighting. You got the giant blast at the end. You got your hand-to-hand stuff everywhere. Some of the stuff I was just watching randomly on the couch last week or so was the training before the 23rd tournament. All the stuff that Popo is trying to instill in Goku about energy, and how to sense it and how to harness it. I think that stuff is the best in the series. And
just even the martial arts aspect to it. And you get a lot of the Chinese motif that comes through, especially early on in Dragon Ball, which was really its roots. And Dragon Ball Z does tend to go away from that. Toriyama's done plenty of interviews talking about the contrast. Personally, it's one of those weird things because I feel like between the four of us, it's almost we are some of the few that would almost say, yeah, I could live without Dragon Ball Z if it wasn't there. I would still like Dragon Ball. And it's just weird because it's specifically for Americans, I think, to say that, just because Dragon Ball Z came out first here in the States. But I would say I would prefer Dragon Ball over Z if that's what I had to choose.
All right. It has been chosen.
Yeah.
You know what? I agree. It would mean having to give up Trunks. I know.
Ooh.
But I would actually pick Dragon Ball. You know what? I would find something else to get obsessed with instead. Maybe it would be Temple of Ten Shinhan instead.
That's
Which
true.
one?
You got Ten Shinhan.
Good or evil?
Oh,
both.
Both. As long as he's not wearing a shirt, I'm good either way.
Just wait till his pants come off.
It's true. The pants come off.
Exactly. That's why I kind of always go to the manga, because it just encompasses all of it.
Here's a tough question. Do you regret being a Dragon Ball fan?
Every day.
Every moment of every day? What have I done with my life?
Yep.
No.
Essentially.
I hope you're kidding.
I mean, Julian answered it quite appropriately there. We're all friends and married really because of Dragon Ball. We owe a lot to Japanese perverted dude doing poop jokes. I have no regrets for that. I'm real happy where I am.
I would agree. Yeah.
The only thing I regret is just maybe my behavior early early in fandom,
of course,
like not knowing any better. I mean, I chalk it off to being a teenager at the time and just not having any class.
Right.
But now I have no regrets. No regrets.
How many classes do you have?
How many what now?
You said you had no class. How many classes do you have?
5.
You have 5 classes?
Yeah.
Nice.
At least 5.
At least 5 classes. I'm a class 5 nerd.
Wow.
I don't know what that means.
Out of what?
This is actually the second part to an earlier question about the translating. How have you remained sane being a prominent figure within a fan base that can't even agree with itself for so many years? Who says any of us are sane? If
I am completely insane.
If we have the appearance of sanity, we're doing something right.
We have to function in society, people.
Yeah,
it's all about cover it up very well.
Exactly. You have to pass for a real life functioning adult. Sometimes we do that.
Sometimes, on occasion.
All right. Well, scrolling down, still lots of questions we haven't gotten to.
A lot of questions we haven't gotten to.
First memories. What do you guys order when eating at Chipotle? I can't remember the last time I ate at Chipotle, so I can't really answer your question.
I usually order at Chipotle like once a year, and it's
usually
due to peer pressure at work. Usually someone will be like, hey, who wants Chipotle? And I'll be like, oh, God, no. Fine.
I don't think I've eaten there in at least 5, maybe 6 years.
Usually get the burrito bowl. Or maybe it's like a salad bowl, and you just like dump stuff in it. Chicken.
There you go.
I suppose.
All right, real question. This has been at the top for a while, I think.
Oops.
Do you guys like the concept of Toei and Toyotaro having the freedom to fill in the in-betweens of the general script Toriyama gives? Yeah, Heath, this is something unprecedented for Dragon Ball and difficult for us to cover in a way.
It really is. It's not something that's been done previously. Usually Toei has just had complete control. So it's actually opposite of what most people think, that Toriyama even has some involvement with what the story is doing. So I realized originally it was based on the manga, but really Toei ran with it. They rarely consulted with him unless it was, hey, we have a new character design. Can you approve this? But as far as story elements go, he was hardly involved at all. But the fact that he's almost essentially established a predecessor at this point is really weird to talk about. But
a successor. I don't think he's established a predecessor.
Well, yes.
Yes, I correct my own site cohorts too. Don't worry.
We don't talk about all the re-edits on the podcast.
Actually, he said the wrong word, so I gotta re-record this and edit this. Oh, you give me so much work to do.
Actually, sometimes we do it on purpose. Like, Mike, you can edit around this, right?
Because we need to be more busy.
Right. I need more to do.
Well, every day. So yeah, that's essentially my thoughts. Do I like the concept of it? Yeah. I can't really say that I have a problem with it either way. You know, I'm fine with Toei stepping in and kind of laying some of the groundwork based on what Toriyama has given them. But it is nice to have what I assume is some oversight by Toyotaro to at least say, hey, yeah, it's maybe not quite Dragon Ball. Let's do this instead. But it's also been really fascinating to watch the manga, or watch the anime and compare it to the manga as it comes out, and just some of the differences and how much like Super Saiyan God actually played.
Yeah.
In the manga compared to in the anime, they've literally just dropped it, and Super Saiyan Blue is the new shit.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any strong opinions yet. I think it's going to be fun to go back to maybe in like 5 years, see what I think about all the differences there. For now, it's just, oh, that's cool. That's doing that. Oh, that's cool. That's doing that. All right. And then Dragon Ball Heroes gets to reap the rewards of everything and just do more of all right, we want Rage Trunks. We want Super Saiyan God Vegeta, probably. Let's just do it all.
Isn't that the irony of this whole thing? That they didn't want to do a new series based on Heroes. So they're like, hey, let's do Kai. And then now they've made a new series and Heroes is still around and it is benefiting more from all these new series than anything else. So there you go, Bandai. Have fun with that.
What else we got for questions?
Hey, when is your wiki coming?
Next question.
2050? Is that
here's the thing. If I think if you reasonably found a way to take off of work for like a week or 2 weeks collectively all at the same time, you could probably work on it in one long stretch. I assume.
I will be 100% honest. Having one person write an entire wiki is not very feasible. And that is essentially why it is not live at the moment. Is that too blunt, Mike?
No, not at all.
We need the honest, real talk straight from Heath.
And also, I would get distracted with other projects and then not go back to it for months at a time and be like, oh, yeah, I should go finish this section on the wiki.
I have to say, like, what's hysterical about the entity that is Kanzenshuu is that you're 4 of the most, oh, look, a penny, like distracted guys I've ever met. And yet you've somehow, like, come together and built this site, like, pretty damn solidly. But all 4 of you get so easily distracted. But I guess it's part of the fun, you know? You have so many different things about the universe that interests you that you can hop from, like, articles to translations to guides to whatever the flavor of the week is.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch.
I want to go back and read my text messages with Julian because that is how we operate.
It's totally how we operate. It'll be one day you'll get a message from somebody else that, hey, I now have a new interest in this. I'm going balls to the wall with this thing until it's done. And then half the time it doesn't get done. It gets like 3/4 of the way done. And that's why we have so many guides that are just sitting around, not on the site.
It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. Well, we tend to hop around a lot, and that's how things happen behind the scenes. Of one day Mike will be like, hey, I have all these magazines. I should do something with them. And then boom, we have a press archive. Well, Julian's just like, I want to work on all the individual chapter pages on the site. And within a month, he'll throw in like a bajillion notes. But then you won't hear from Julian for like a month after that.
Right. We kind of work ourselves to death and then don't want to talk to each other for a month or so.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Standard. And then Jake is just a constant machine of content and information that somehow at some point, at some time, will make it onto the website. But none of us know when that will ever happen.
I've maintained that Jake has full on, without really realizing it, made a brand for himself, which I really admire.
Yes, that is something we struggle with on a daily basis. All right, refreshing the page here, kind of going down the list.
I thought, Mike, you were looking at your texts from Julian.
I was, but then they turned. I mean, I guess this is a good explanation. Eventually, they just turned into baby photos. So, like, we can be talking about how do I transliterate this sentence? And, oh, here's a baby. And,
here's a baby.
That's how it works.
This is how babies are made.
No,
yeah,
that is not
the conversation.
Not the kind of text messages I get from Julian.
Mike X Julian.
And then Mike and I just send beer pictures back to each other.
Yes. Beer porn.
Beer pictures.
Yep.
This is a tough one. Most obscure English dub that is good or worst mistranslation that was played off like fact. I mean, I don't really know in terms of like bad dubs. I mean, everyone always just defaults to LOL's the big green dub. I would posit that the 1999 Funimation English dub is on par with the big green dub. I think you need to go back and watch the actual broadcast from 99, not the updated version that's been Frankenstein monstered it together on the home releases. Go back and watch that and come back and let's talk. Worst mistranslation? I don't know.
Other than the obvious? Involving numbers?
I think Mary and I are on the same page.
All right, what you got?
I think I alluded to it. Over 1,000.
Oh, yeah. The thing that bugs me about the over 9,000, what's the deal with over 9,000, is the constant reiteration of, oh, it was because of lip flaps. Like there's
Okay, Jerry.
There's zero basis in the lip flaps explanation, and to see that just get recited over and over and over as if that has any basis in reality, that's the kind of thing that gets under my skin. Is someone said something once and it just gets repeated and accepted as fact.
Such is life.
This day and age, just tend to ignore it. I've moved past it.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole bunch of other questions, and obviously we want to go type them out on the sub at some point. Heath, I know you got to get back to work at some point. I did bring some show and tell, though.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Let's do a little bit of that. Something I am well known for is I think some folks have already seen.
He's out.
Heath has left the building.
All right, guys, gotta go.
Work is calling.
Something I'm well known for.
Is this something you want to be well known for?
Not really, but is my collection of Dragon Ball Z Movie 1. That came about because of Funimation and Pioneer. When DBZ Movie 1, Dead Zone out here, first came out in 1997. It was released on dubbed VHS, subtitled VHS, bilingual Laserdisc, and bilingual DVD. The Laserdisc is behind the camera up on the wall.
I'm looking at him.
Alongside the Japanese Laserdisc, both of which I believe I obtained from a one Mr. Tanuki Kuribo. And let's just say they probably fell off the back of a truck somewhere. I don't really know where he got them.
Well, Joe's in the chat. Maybe he can.
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to disclose that.
We never asked Joe where things came from.
You just because if you found out, he'd have to kill you.
I would get a message like, "Hey, there's a package coming." Like, okay. All right. So anyway, laser discs are up on the wall, so I can't really show you those. But we're gonna go down the list a little bit here. This actually this is Mary's. I don't know where mine is, but this is the fan subbed VHS of DBZ Movie 1. Yes, you are looking at. Is it the same on both sides? No, it's actually different on both sides. So
that is how all the characters appear in the film, correct?
Yes, yeah. I don't know if you've seen DBZ Movie 1, but this is actually how everyone looks like.
You weren't paying attention. They're actually they're all super.
Vegeta was there,
and Trunks was there.
Trunks was there. This is what fan subs were like back in the late 90s. Is random cover artwork. And this one says Dragon Ball Z first and second movie, Garlic Jr. and Dr. Willow.
That one spoiled me.
They were calling him Willow before Funimation.
That was one of the first fan subs I ever bought, and I loved it because it had the hard cover and it had the color print out sleeve with the completely inaccurate artwork on it.
Shinobi in the chat. Great, here goes. Like, oh, Mike's showing off his movies again. All right. And so here is the English dubbed VHS of DBZ Movie 1.
From Pioneer.
Yep. This is the subtitled version on VHS of DBZ Movie 1. And like you saw with the fan sub, the subtitle version actually came in a clamshell case.
Those were always nice when you got those.
Nice.
Subtitles aren't cheap, and neither are the boxes.
Exactly. Now, when DBZ Movie 1 first came out on DVD, it came in this kind of case. This is how a lot of DVDs were first released. There's actually a standard CD-sized jewel case in here. And that's how that was. When a later reprinting came out, it did get put into a standard DVD case. There's that. I don't have the Japanese Laserdisc for you, but this is the Japanese VHS of DBZ Movie 1.
And that one is so plain compared to the other ones. And granted,
there's no super science.
Yeah, I don't know where Trunks is on this one.
You gotta look. You gotta look at them.
Clamshell case. So just collecting the standard versions available in America, and obviously we got the first Strike set back in like 2005, Ultimate Uncut Edition, the double features, all the random stuff that Funimation put out later on. I was collecting all that. People caught on like, wouldn't it be funny if I sent Mike a foreign version of DBZ Movie 1? They did. So
yeah, totally funny. Thanks, guys.
Funny, so here is Daitodazon des Garlic Jr.
Don't you love the accent?
Yes, I'm fluent in all sorts of languages. This is the German version of DBZ Movie 1. This is La Vendetta Divina. Oh, I like that title.
Ooh.
So this is De Agostini. This is the Italian version of DBZ Movie 1. I'm throwing them on the floor. Sorry for the people who donated them.
Cares
just like,
so much for our personal property.
This is El Secuestro de Gohan. This is Argentina. This is from Argentina version of DBZ Movie 1. Next. This is
what's up with this one?
Dakten pa Garlic. I want to say this is the Norwegian version. I don't know. Foreign languages. I don't know. But yeah, this is weird cover art where it's like, all right, here's a screenshot. We didn't vectorize it. Here's your covers. There you go. All right. Next, I got one more that I brought down. This is a nice steelbook case. I believe this is the Spanish release, as in Spain. Un filme de Akira Toriyama. Indacio
that was very
Especial.
slick.
This is a very nice one. It's just called Dragon Ball Z. Yep. This is. I'm gonna look here. Yeah, I think this is from Spain. Maybe. I don't remember. I have a list somewhere, master list. So those are some of my versions of DBZ Movie 1. Yeah, I have many more. They're littered throughout the house somewhere, but those are the ones I had all together.
If you had enough TVs, you could watch them simultaneously.
I've actually thought about making my own custom DVD. I believe DVDs tap out at 8 audio tracks, though. So at this point, I would have to do like an SD version on Blu-ray with more audio tracks. Heath, how much more time do you have?
I can hang around for a little while, 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Good.
Maybe you can talk to this a little bit. This is not especially special, but this is something we do have documented on the site. This is the anime, the second anime special. This is
Vegeta's forehead is so massive.
Yeah, it really is.
What the hell?
Do you have the first one?
I think I do upstairs. I had 2 of 2 next to each other, so I think I thought I was putting one next to 2, and I may have put it somewhere else. Like, Mike, why do I have 2 of these? I don't know. Why?
See, if we ever combine things, we're gonna have duplicates of so many.
Well, that's how it was when Mary and I got together. We have so many duplicates of things. I think we've purged. Anyway, Heath, why don't you talk to the anime special, the 2 volumes from a pre-Kanzenshuu guidebook era?
Yeah, this was they're essentially put out by Shueisha. They're magazines, MOOCs, they are known, magazine books, and they do them every once in a while based on whatever series. But when Dragon Ball Z started, they decided, hey, let's cover up through the Sane arc. First volume, what Mike has is a second volume, which covers more of the Frieza, Namek type arc. And there is a lot of good stuff in there. Information from Toriyama about what he helped contribute when they were doing the designs for the series, ideas. I think even some movie material is covered in there. What was coming out at the time? There's interviews.
I think it's 4.
Design drawings, screenshots, episodes, synopses. The first volume has an entire section on how Dragon Ball Z was produced on film and distributed. So that's really neat. A lot of production interviews, cast interviews, and then Maeda Minoru drew almost everything for those. So they actually have a lot of full color pages in there of just original artwork by him exclusively for.
Why don't I grab one of those? Like these,
for these magazines. And they were later, I believe, for the first time ever, reprinted in the Golden Warrior art book.
Yeah. So here's, sorry, I gotta like put it in front of the microphone and then in front of the camera so I can't see anything. But this is what, Raditz and Goku? Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they weren't included in any of the Kanzenshuu releases since those were all Toriyama specific.
I wouldn't have the heart to hack that up and scan it.
Well, you don't have to now if you have the Golden Warrior. They're all in there.
Yeah. And something I want to bring up, we do have this archive. One of my babies on the site is the spin-off manga section, because no one else can be bothered to care. So
not at all.
If no one else is going to do it, I guess I'll do it the same way Heath does the episode guide. That's the last thing I want to do is an episode guide. So I'll do the spin-off manga. But these are the original illustrated stories. There were 3 of them. The first one was Piccolo. Second one was Vegeta. And the third one, which is actually more text than images, it's almost like light novel style, was about Trunks. But this Vegeta one is lovely. Let's see if I can
and they're really nice full page spreads.
Yeah, so you got the actual cover image and then the inside story material. These were written and illustrated by some of the anime staff, and they're great. We've got information and documentation about them in the, if you go to the manga guide and then go to the spin-off section, those in particular.
They were all written by Koyama.
I don't know if they were all written by, I want to say the third one was by slightly different folks, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got one more thing I want to show off, just because I spent the money on it a long time ago. Might as well show it.
This is gonna get really
Hi, Bubba Trunks.
Yes, that was
I
my
spent a lot of money on Bubba Trunks.
I actually wish I remembered how much I spent on this. Like probably no more than $15.
Seems about right.
Which in the, teen money, it's probably a lot of money for a kid back then.
You know what I'm regretting? I should have just waited to buy all the Dragon boxes, the original Japanese ones, until they're like $100 on Yahoo Japan auctions.
Yeah.
Like, yay, Teen Heath, you did a good job back then, wasting all your income.
Yeah, but you have them all now, so that's,
I do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Yahoo Japan auctions, I just bought an old V-Jump yesterday, so it's a little more than I wanted to spend on it, but it's for good reason. You'll all see when it comes in. I bought it for a reason. Anyway, that's not this. This is my Bondi Playdia, and it's in a box, and sometimes I use it, not very often.
Sometimes.
Yes. So obviously the Playdia, why would you have a Playdia? That would be for the original, well, actually the remake, Plan to Eradicate the Science, was it Earth chapter and Space chapter, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, originally a Famicom game, and then remade into a 2-part Playdia interactive feature game sort of thing. And then
turn into VHS tapes,
strategy guide for said stuff, and then later remade in 2010, I think it was, for Raging Blast 2, Plan to Eradicate the Super Science. One of my plans that I've long wished to do at some point, when we're really, really, really hurting, when we're in a deep, dark place, is I'm going to get Julian.
Whoa.
He's going to come on over.
Oh.
And we are going to sit and live stream us playing through the entirety of both Plan to Eradicate the not Super Science, just regular Science games, as a fundraiser for when we can no longer afford all the hookers and booze that it takes to run Kanzenshuu. So that's
yay, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah.
For who, I don't know, but
so
we'll look forward to it.
Yeah, did you know that Bandai made their own video game system? It was the Playdia. It was bluish purple, and it played FMV games, and it was pretty terrible. But if you're a Dragon Ball fan, gotta own Playdia. Yeah, I don't own a Wonder Swan. I keep meaning to pick up a Wonder Swan. There's a remake of, is it the 3rd Dragon Ball game on Famicom? I think they did for Wonder Swan, but I also want to pick up the Final Fantasy remakes on that as well, just to have. So anyway, that was just a little bit of show and tell. You can find documentation for most of the stuff on the site. We don't have a foreign DVD guide. That again is one of the 50 years in the future. Once we've done everything else, I want to do a home video guide for.
Well, when we've gotten that question, it's just that is a ridiculous amount of information to pull in, especially from countries that we don't necessarily speak their language.
Yeah, like the American home releases, I've lived through literally everything from the beginning of the Kid Mark Dragon Ball release, and I own them all, so it's easy to document everything that you own. And the Japanese release, well, they didn't have a home release for the longest time, other than the movies. on VHS and Laserdisc, some of which we own on Japanese Laserdisc and VHS, and otherwise was properly documented in Japanese material. So, yeah, I think the next step for the home video guide is probably dipping back to, and I think I answered this on our own forum, the Japanese Laserdisc and VHS releases. I think that's worth cataloging on the site, and we'll go from there. I don't know what else. Maybe we should finish, what was it, like the latest Blu-rays? We haven't bothered to touch that page in 3 years.
I didn't even notice that they weren't done until somebody pointed it out. And I was like, oh, whoops. Yeah, we totally stopped updating that after what, like volume 2 or 4?
Yeah, I think it's only 2 volumes. Yeah. Good.
It's like, oh, crap.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been going for a little bit over an hour. We really wanted to keep it to an hour because Heath is on his lunch break, graciously came on back home to do this. And we don't want to just talk for the sake of talking, but we wanted to have a good time, get some of those answers out there. And we're going to turn our attention back over to the actual subs there on Reddit. And we'll answer a whole bunch of questions there in text form. It's going to be Mike, that's me, Vegito EX. That's Heath over there. That's Hugio. And then Julian was already answering a whole bunch of questions in text. And I think he had to go back to work. And we're all going to be back over there on the sub today. And Mary will be looking over my shoulder.
And then maybe sometime we can do this again.
Yes.
So I guess let's talk about what we do on Kanzenshuu. It's not just running the website.
We didn't lead with this?
Yes. That works. We do a podcast. We haven't done a regular episode in quite some time, but we've been dabbling in the live stream adventures instead. I have archives of those up in the podcast feed, sharing material that was on the press archive, would be making its way to the press archive, and at some point will still make its way to the press archive. And then we're doing this as well. So this is just, trying out new things. What do we like doing? What do we have fun doing? What's a good way to get information out there in a faster, easier to digest fashion where I don't have to actually edit video, produce things. So that's it. So www.kanzenshuu.com. That's Kanzenshuu. Just type the cons. Does that work? Let's try the cons.
What does that resolve to?
Cons disorders. Wikipedia. Apparently this is actually a thing.
We are a disorder. That is
all right.
True.
So typing the cons is not going to work.
Can we do an episode where we just stream of consciousness just begin like Googling stuff?
No. Let's really not do that. All right. Strike that from the record. Don't search for the cons.
Or do.
I don't know.
Whatever you want to do. We can't control you.
If you don't know us by now and you actually still like us, well, we're on Kanzenshuu. We have news, an incredible amount of documentation, obviously the translation section, but also some of the guides we've talked about, the manga guide, the spin-offs in particular, but also the regular guides, each individual chapter. We have every single weekly comment from Toriyama. We actually had that up on our site before it was printed in the 30th anniversary guidebook in Japan. Just saying. Thanks, Julian. We have so much good stuff on the site. Heath, what do you love on the site that people should check out?
Personal favorites? Ooh, gosh. I do like the animation styles guide. That is a good one. It's a go-to. Personally, I like the manga and the episode guide. I think they complement each other very well, and we kind of set it up that way. Yeah. So everything is interlinked. Like if you go to a manga page, it'll tell you which episodes pieces of that material appeared in and vice versa. Hopefully the movie guide will get updated soon, but
I think I may have seen someone tinkering around in there lately.
No way.
Magical Kanzenshuu fairy.
Yes. That's how all the pages
we need one of those. But yeah, probably manga and episode are my favorites that I tend to use a lot for reference.
Nice. Mary, what's your favorite section on Kanzenshuu?
Rumor guide and
the rumor
animation styles guide.
And
my favorite old school section that brought me to the site every single day back when it was Vegito EX's homepage was the mailbag.
Was the shrine to Vegito.
Yes. No. Mailbag. Angry teenage Mike.
What? Yeah, it's the worst
Horrible
thing.
Yeah, if we could all have him back.
He's dead now.
He killed him.
He's in an alley
What
somewhere.
was I gonna ask you? Oh, because you can't escape. And no one's responded to the email. Have you read the latest rumor guide entry? And do I have your approval on it? Because I'm just gonna post it.
Yeah, you have my approval.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that. I was waiting for Jake and Julian to respond.
I know, me too, but I don't know, they're not here. Fuck them.
There you go. Go with it.
Bad words on the live stream. Sorry.
Jeez.
I was gonna say I approve, but I need to change in reference to what I'm approving. Bad Mike, no cursing.
Right.
Yeah, I approve of it. So I guess that means any translation work we did, I've now stamped.
Right.
And I cannot validate any of it.
I was gonna say the translators aren't here, but anyway. So that's it.
That is the one nice thing that I have enjoyed over the years is I think between you and I, we each know enough Japanese. I think I might know just a little bit more than you just from doing all the from credits.
It's a lot. It's a lot more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that is running this website has really kind of, as Mary alluded to earlier, just all the things I've learned, not just the friends I've made, but the things I've learned, like real world skills, like from a fan site is ridiculous. I can't even, there are things in my real day job that I would not be as good doing them if I did not run a website.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
I mean, Mary and I
I'm in
are
the same boat.
in that field. Everything we know about content and marketing came from running Dragon Ball fan sites. So don't let anyone ever tell you that this stuff doesn't have real world applications. Like it will better your life and your career and your relationships. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yep. Those are my words of advice.
Real life advice here from
the old
Kanzenshuu, from the old farts.
Are we all in our 30s now?
Of the four of us, I'm the oldest. Mary's
right. No, I'm the oldest.
Well, I know, but I'm not going to use one of the Kanzenshuu.
Okay.
I'm definitely in my 30s.
Yeah, it's you, me. Gosh, I want to say Julian, then Jake.
I think that's how it goes. I think Jake's the baby.
Jake's the whippersnapper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. We're old.
Okay.
I mean, we're all in our 20s, right?
When I first...
When's the last time you got carded?
A week ago?
As recently as I would like. When I first got into the series, I remember thinking, oh man, those guys that are in college that run their sites, they are so old.
They are so mature. They've seen some things.
Nope. Speaking of seeing some things, we've seen some shit go down.
Oh yes.
You got one story. You got one story out of me on this stream here.
Yeah, so good on you if you were listening.
Yeah.
Listening. I never thought you would divulge that so soon.
That's an okay one because it didn't result in anything.
So soon. That was what? Over 10 years ago?
That was almost 8 years ago now at this point. So
I thought it was closer to 10.
No, because that was Plant to Eradicate the Super Science. So that was 2010. So it was
that's true.
Might have been earlier in the year in 2010 there, probably was. So not quite 7 years ago. So not even 7 years ago, but still enough time has passed. All right, we're going to bring it to a close. We've had a lovely time. Basically this is just a chance for me to talk with Heath for an hour, and the fact that it gets broadcast and maybe other people can watch and enjoy it. That's cool too.
From now on, all of our communications will be broadcast to everyone.
Yes. All of our conversations will all be recorded and broadcast.
Trust me, you do not want to live in these heads. It's a bad place to be.
It is. All right. So we're going to end our live stream. It's been a pleasure. And we're going to turn our attention over to the sub and start picking up where I think Julian left off. So everyone had a good time. We'll see you on /r/DBZ. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.